What's up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, November 16th, 2019. It's been a little bit since I did a video. Bitcoin has been boring. Let's put it that way. But I've been extremely busy, and it's just sometimes you just gotta check your priorities. What's up, everybody? I'll start this video. This is a live stream. I'm gonna give it a second for some people to get in here, but I'll start this off by saying, and I put it in the title, buying Bitcoin dip. Buy Bitcoin dip, not financial advice. And it's true. This is completely not financial advice. I have to say it. There are people out there scouring YouTube for financial advice to figure out what to do, to figure out when to buy. If you're one of those people, take my content, take content of other YouTubers, put it all together, sit on it, think about it, find your own approach, but don't take financial advice. This is educational purposes, everybody, meaning this is data that I've gathered that we've been tracking on this channel for almost 2 years now, and I want to talk about that data. So if you're a replay viewer, you can hit the timestamp below to get right to the technical analysis stamp or point in the video. What's up, everybody? Wendell, Rick, Anthony, Script, Skynet, John, Red. What's up, everybody? It's tough, you know. I can't be one of those YouTubers that's just doing a video every day, and even when Bitcoin's not moving, finding a video to do, or finding something to do a video about, it's too much time, and it's probably boring also for all of you to kind of see the same content over and over again. But I think this is a good video. Saturday, November 16th, Bitcoin kind of in the middle of doing its thing, having everybody sitting at the edge of their seats. So I want to talk about buying the dip because this is really what's going on in my mind, especially the last few days. And we can start technical analysis. We can jump into the charts and talk about this. Let me minimize my camera here. So I tweeted, when was this tweet? Well, this was yesterday, buy the dip. Let me go to this tweet I actually retweeted a tweet from November 6th, 10 days ago. Bitcoin was at like $9,200. And I basically said, I'm prepared for Bitcoin to dip to $7,900 to $8,500. This has turned into a heavier accumulation area for me. In my opinion, this would set Bitcoin up for its move to break recent $14,000 swing high, all by end of December. So here we are 10 days later. Bitcoin was at $9,275. And now if we go to the chart for context to that tweet, Bitcoin now down here at around $8,400 to $8,500. Now, what I really want to talk about is this. What's my approach now that we're kind of there, right? I tweeted that's a heavier accumulation area. Well, now we're there, right? And this is what it looks like. This is what I tweeted. This is the Fibonacci channel I was waiting to come back down to from $9,200, and we have. But what is my approach? Now, my approach is this. I bought a little Bitcoin, just a little. I mentioned heavy accumulation in my tweet, but heavy accumulation or heavier accumulation would kind of be if we were in here somewhere, right? All the way down to $7,900. And we're just not there yet, right? And I'm kind of waiting to see what Bitcoin does. In scenarios like this is where you have to look at your own mindset. You have to figure out your own approach on what you want to do. There's no technical data that can tell you this is exactly the time, right? We might never go below $8,400 again, right? I get that. And if we do take off, if Bitcoin just magically took off, never went below $8,400, never even really entered into this heavier accumulation area that I have here, then I'm fine with that, right? And that's part of my decision in accumulating Bitcoin. I'm completely cool if Bitcoin doesn't come into this area and I buy a little bit more Bitcoin. I'm happy with my Bitcoin stash, my Litecoin stash. I'm happy with my portfolio right now. I'd happily enjoy Bitcoin, entering a bull market. Now, on the flip side of that, right, I have to understand this. If I am buying Bitcoin a little bit heavier in this area, if we do get there, like say tonight, Bitcoin drops down to $8,000, and maybe if I buy a little Bitcoin, I have to understand this. There is a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential for Bitcoin to cruise below this Fibonacci support, right? we're looking at this channel, this green channel. This is the 4-hour chart, 7,900 to 8,400, 8,500. We're looking at that as support, possible support. Support, as we know, does not always hold. In a picture-perfect world, it does, right? And we can get an idea of an exact scenario of what we'd want to play out. And this is the bottom of the bear market. And we can go over to our Fibonacci retracement tool. We can get the very bottom of the bear market to its swing high. And this is what Bitcoin did, right? It's a very similar move. We had a swing high. We came right back down to this channel, the 786 to 618. This was a higher low, in Bitcoin. This served as probably one of the best, besides this one, obviously, accumulation areas for Bitcoin. And it's an exact reflection of a possible setup that Bitcoin is in right now, right? This is a higher low for Bitcoin right now from its swing low that we had at the end of October. So somebody said, sell your house and buy Bitcoin. I wouldn't go that far. I definitely wouldn't go that far. So now we're at this channel, and that's what we're doing. We're looking to see if we're going to put in a higher low here from the end of October swing low. And in trying to figure out when to buy Bitcoin, that's up to you. You have to figure that out yourself. But right now, this is our shorter term support. This could be the continuation. Now, this kind of all ties back to where we are in the grand scheme of things. And I'm going to look at these patterns in a few minutes. But what I want to do in context to buying the dip is I want to look at the weekly chart. And this is that long-term weekly chart. This is actually a chart that I charted back in December, literally at like the bottom of the bear market. Nothing on this chart has changed, right? These lines have been locked in. You can go to the original post. I have a link in the description, but I posted this chart back here, right? And Bitcoin is well on its way to a speculative, next all-time high of close to $100,000 sometime in 2021. That's my speculative guess. Bitcoin's on its way there, right? But this, on the very short term, we're just looking at the 4-hour, it ties closely to the weekly because we're at a really critical stage in terms of this long-term trend. And I talk about this a lot on this channel. It is this. We're at this key Fibonacci area that we had, same thing back in the last Bitcoin halving, coming out of the last bear market. Here's our 786 to 618. This is the doorway to the bull market. Bitcoin saw resistance coming out of the bear market, came back down a little bit, hovered above the 50-week moving average, and then we blasted into the bull market. We're at exact same area, right? Swing high bull market, swing low, and I should probably maximize this a little bit. Same exact thing just happened, right? And you can see the similarities. I have both open on the charts. We have the Fibonacci retracement area right here, 786 to 618, same thing. Doorway to the bull market. It was a doorway to the bull market back here, right? Around the last Bitcoin halving, out of that last bear market. And it's the same thing here. We're not at the Bitcoin halving yet. That's in May. It's actually happening quicker that we're seeing this resistance here, but out of the bear market to the bull market doors, this Fibonacci retracement cycle resistance back down. Now the question is Bitcoin going to hover here above the 50-week moving average, see support there before continuation to the upside and to our goal of $100,000 swing high? Now, if you look at the charts, they look so synergistic. They look so harmonious. They flow so well with each other. Bitcoin right now just looking really nice. And the thing is that I'd be really curious to see, and this is probably the most dramatic, crazy thing that I'm looking at on Bitcoin, is will that continue? Because if it doesn't continue and Bitcoin actually does see another swing low, going back to the 4-hour, a swing low that, goes below this previous swing low, end of October, $7,200, then really on the weekly chart, what that's going to equate to is Bitcoin's going to break below the 50-week moving average right down here. And that's not something that happened in its last cycle, right? We showed support above the 50-week moving average. Obviously, consolidation after that Fibonacci resistance. Same thing here. In a picture-perfect Bitcoin world, Bitcoin will will maybe trade sideways another few weeks. I don't know, but it'll stay above the 50-week moving average right here, and it'll continue to the upside. Exactly what it did back here. And it was kind of a slow and steady continuation up to that Fibonacci channel again, right? So, it could be a slow growth. $10,000, we break $11,000. Next week, $12,000, maybe a little bit of a red week. Boom. And this takes patience to see what's going to happen, but it truly does always start on like the daily chart, the 4-hour chart on the very short term to see what direction Bitcoin's going. So we talked about that $7,200 area really being a key area for Bitcoin to pretty much stay above, right? And the biggest support is this 786 to 618 Fibonacci supports on this 4-hour chart. It's all happening very quickly. I imagine the next week and a half, we're going to know if Bitcoin's going to have support here. If Bitcoin does not have support, we can go to the daily for some clues. Joel Pederigan. Thank you for the $5 super chat, and I'm sorry I just butchered your name. I appreciate that. Thanks for coming by on the Saturday afternoon as well. It means a lot. So the daily chart offering clues for us, and that is this, right? We can, right now, actually, what I'll do is I'll remove this red line because I'll get to that in a second. But we have the symmetrical triangle that we kind of fell into from our swing high in June. Everybody remembers this. This was a beautiful time for Bitcoin. Very enjoyable. YouTube was blowing up. Twitter was blowing up. And now we've consolidated and things are kind of boring again. So symmetrical triangle, lower highs, right? Higher lows. We broke through the bottom. Now, the breakout target for that is down here around $6,400. Since that's the breakout target, we haven't reached that target yet, correct? We've kind of come down to around $7,200 or so. And from there, we've revisited the lower trend line. We always look for this out of patterns, a revisit to the trend line that we broke out of, and it did. And we got rejection there. It's a very bad sign. And since then, we've consolidated between the 50-day moving average and the 200 moving average. And right now, as I do this video in the last day or so, Bitcoin's actually below the 50 moving average on the daily chart. Extremely dangerous area for Bitcoin to be, but at the same time, more dangerous if we see continued rejection under the 50 moving average on the daily chart. That's going to take a few days to see. It's not unlike Bitcoin to kind of take a little bit of a dip below it for continued support above it. So we have to kind of track that over the next few days. Now, if we do hit our targets, I did a video probably a month and a half ago on $6,400, and it was based on mining productivity costs, mining costs, and that providing a floor for Bitcoin. So there's a lot of interesting context in terms of Bitcoin finding a bottom there in regards to a breakout target out of this symmetrical triangle, right? So we got this rejection here at the lower trend line, and we come back down. Maybe that's our floor right there. So that would be my second area where I'm buying Bitcoin. If Bitcoin does kind of get to that area, I'm buying Bitcoin at $6,400. I think it's an insane opportunity. It's $2,000 away. At the end of the day, long term, if you believe in Bitcoin and you think this long-term parabolic chart is going to play out, the one that we have here, does it really matter? $8,400, $6,400? It does. You have way more buying power at $6,400 and $8,400. But at the end of the day, if you're here long-term and you're holding long-term, I don't think it's going to be a huge, huge difference. You're winning, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Poseidon Lou is in the house. The live stream is complete. $4.99 super chat. What's up, Poseidon Lou? Hope you're doing well, man. I hope you're having a good weekend. So that would be my second area. $6,400 is a target, a breakout target from this symmetrical triangle. It's also that mining cost floor, and you can go check out that video I did like a month and a half ago. And there's a lot of interesting context there. The last piece is this. Buying the dip plays into this area, the Fibonacci retracement, right? Bear market low, swing high that we just had, and boom, here's our 618 to 786. Check it out. Exactly, not exactly, but just wrapping right around this $6,400 area, the the breakout target of the symmetrical triangle, as well as what we just talked about in terms of mining costs. So could be a really interesting area of accumulation. Probably the strongest area of accumulation. So here it is, just to kind of rehash this. Jim Flanagan, what is up? Happy Saturday, everyone. $10 super chat. Thanks, dude. Appreciate you. All going to the Launchpad Foundation, by the way. Poseidon Lou, another $4.99. I think he's like trigger happy on that super chat button. Thanks, fellas. I appreciate you both. So check this out, though. We have the 4-hour first accumulation channel, right? And that is right here, this Fibonacci retracement. Do what you will. I know what I'm doing. I bought a little Bitcoin with where we are right now. Nothing crazy. And I'll probably buy a little bit more if we kind of start trading in this channel. But look at the similarities in terms of this is a 4-hour, very short-term Bitcoin setup, right? Meaning we went from a swing low to a swing high Fibonacci channel or support, right? Very short-term like area. I don't put too much stock into heavily buying when I'm looking at a chart like this. This is all transpired in the last like 2 to 3 weeks. This is where I put a lot of stock into accumulation. This is probably the most important part of this video right now, 15 minutes in finally, which is this. The similarities, right? Here's our setup. Swing low, swing high, some accumulation, right? Because we could get a bounce here and we can continue up, obviously. But this is more important because now we're talking into the cycles of Bitcoin. And that is this. Swing low, right? Meaning bear market low, down here, swing low, swing high. Now we're on the daily chart, not that little 4-hour chart. This is going back to December 2018. Swing low, swing high, right? And now here's our Fibonacci right down here. Now this is an insane area of accumulation. I don't know if Bitcoin's going to get there. We bounced pretty much right off the top of that channel, $7,200, but we didn't really enter it. If Bitcoin enters that channel, there is such a good, strong case for that being the complete floor for Bitcoin on the short term before entering finally that bull market that everybody wants. And we're talking this could go down to $5,400 or so. Maybe it levels off around 6,000, 6,500, and then we have a short little capitulation into the 5,000s. But that, in my opinion, would be it. And this would be a setup for a higher low for Bitcoin. It's probably, I know it sounds very bearish, especially coming out of the June swing high, and we'd be down, 50, 60% from then. But that is the most bullish setup for Bitcoin, because if you zoom out on these charts now, on the daily chart, look at that setup. Because now we have this long-term symmetrical triangle in play. We have the higher low would be locked in, and we have a setup going into the apex of this symmetrical triangle. And look what runs right through the apex of the triangle. That is a Bitcoin halving. It is an unbelievable setup. And all it takes is for Bitcoin to do its thing, which is slight volatility. All right, a lot of volatility. Plus, you and me just being patient. At the end of the day, we just have to sit back and just be a little patient. Because look at this setup. If we just take it all in right now, if this played out like this, is it that bad? I get that right now everybody wants Bitcoin just to kind of moon. We're at $8,500 and kind of going down into look at this, $5,500, 30+% to the downside. That's like depressing to so many people. That's failure to so many people. I know there's going to be people out there. The guy Peter that just pushes gold all the time, he's going to be tweeting that Bitcoin's done. And that is it. It's that environment where you buy the dip, where I buy the dip. And that's what I'm waiting for. And, that's my approach. I'm sharing it with you. It's not financial advice. And I have to underline this entire technical analysis with this. Historically, anytime Bitcoin has really been oversold on this, on these RSIs, right? So especially this RSI, this slower moving momentum oscillator, it has been the absolute best time to accumulate Bitcoin. Going to the stock RSI, even the stock RSI, anytime oversold on the stock RSI, pretty much 100% of the time, if you bought Bitcoin when it's down here oversold, you will have seen some really nice gains, especially if it happens in a bull market environment where we're seeing higher highs and higher lows. I say that because there is environments where we're kind of in a bear market going down. And if you buy in this oversold environment right here on the way down, you're going to get short-term gains, right? Like right here, there's some nice little gains right there, but you have to trade out of that, right? But the case in point is this: every time Bitcoin has been oversold on the stock RSI has proven you're going to get gains, whether short-term or long-term. If you're holding long, I think, historically, pretty much every time, if you would have bought, except for, there's probably a couple times if you would have bought here, but if you're holding extra long-term and we enter and we break this bull market Fibonacci retracements, you will have gained every single time. So that's something I take into consideration in terms of accumulating Bitcoin. The fact that the technicals, they don't lie sometimes, and especially these momentum oscillators that tell us, hey, in the past, when Bitcoin was here, this is what happened next. And when you have such a consistent win rate in terms of accumulating Bitcoin, it just makes sense. If you have that risk tolerance to keep accumulating Bitcoin, to keep buying and investing in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, why would you not take that time when we're oversold to buy? Many people, unfortunately, I don't know if I would say most people, but sometimes it seems like it, buy when all the hype is happening, right? They buy like up here, and they buy the swing highs. They buy the tops of bull markets, and they buy the higher highs. They don't buy the lower lows. They don't buy even the higher lows. They're buying those higher highs, and then they're like seeing quick 30% to the downside, 50% to the downside, and they're like, I can't take this anymore. And then they sell the low, and then Bitcoin finally bounces after they sold. They should have been buying. Do you see what I'm saying? You have to go against your emotion and what your short-term senses are telling you. And you kind of have to just go by what the technicals are telling you. And so that's why what I'm saying is this: if Bitcoin does enter an environment where we are revisiting and we're coming down to this Fibonacci channel, 5,500 to 7,200, if we're in there, many people's senses will be saying, don't buy right now. That's ridiculous. Bitcoin's just like seeing so much downside. But the technicals will be saying, buy, right? Because the stock RSI surely will be back down here, oversold, right? The RSI will be down, probably not too much. Hopefully we'll stay above right around the 40 on the RSI on the weekly. Extremely important to see support there. But when we're down there and the stock RSI is down here, that's it. That's my approach to buying Bitcoin. That's called buying the dip. It's called buying the fear. That's setting yourself up for the next, run for Bitcoin. And in terms of where Bitcoin could potentially be heading, I think it's a beautiful, awesome opportunity. And those are my thoughts, everybody. Those are my thoughts on buying the dip. 23-minute live stream. I wanted to share some content. I feel like such a slacker on YouTube. Like, it's unbelievable. I just, when Bitcoin's not doing much and I'm very busy, it just doesn't seem worth it to just rehash the same content. However, we're at a really critical point, I think, right now. We're going to find out soon if Bitcoin's going to hold above this 4-hour chart. Key support, right? 8,400 down to 7,900. And that's a very short-term outlook, right? But if we break that support, be very careful in terms of where Bitcoin could be headed next. Be ready to buy the dip if you're keen on doing so. Poseidon Lou, trigger happy, $4.99 super chat. Thanks, dude. I hope you have a good day. I really do, Lou. What time is it over there? It's 2. What is it? 11? Yeah, it's 11 o'clock over there. 11 a.m. Get your day started right. How's everybody doing anyway? Dominic, what are you doing out there? It's Bitcoin just trickling down slowly. Let me know if you're buying Bitcoin. Let me know what you're feeling. Type where you think Bitcoin's going to next price-wise. Are we going higher, lower? Just put your guesses out there. I just kind of want to see what the vibes are out there. I'm very curious. When Dan speaks, listen. Another 4... Dude, Lou, what are you doing, man? When are you coming to the East Coast? Sarah and I want to take you and the fam to dinner. I appreciate the super chats, man. Aaron says we're going lower. Aaron says even more depressing if it gets to $5,000 to $6,000. Think how long it will take to get back to 20. That's absolutely, so I get what you're saying. Many people are probably going to be not very happy if it gets to 5, 6, but I do not think it's going to take very long for Bitcoin to get to all-time highs again. And Aaron, all you have to do is zoom out on the charts, right? And this is a speculative chart here, but this is what it looks like. Bitcoin, retracing even further down to this channel, $5,000, $6,000, right? Here's the halving in May. If Bitcoin gets a hard bounce out of this channel, and say it's not until January or February, but we get a final bullish environment out of that channel going into March, into spring, and then we're approaching, $15,000 in spring, going into summer, going into the halving, we're approaching that all-time high. Is that bad if that happens? Even if it takes until end of summer to finally break an all-time high, the question is that bad to wait that long? And isn't this opportunity down here, if Bitcoin does get down there, a great opportunity? I think so. $5 super chat. Joel, thank you again for the Launchpad Foundation. Appreciate all you guys. You guys are awesome. Michael Watson says, I'm torn. Bitcoin forever. Zach says we're in the last phase of accumulation. I agree with that. Auto Spray Bristol says, when peeps are bearish, I'm bullish. Higher. Bearish. Dominic says bearish and will buy anything under 7K. I pretty much agree with that. Matt says crypto is long-term, hodl all the way. Agree with that. Neo Patriot 77. I want to see some gains rather than constant buying opportunity. Let's be real. Hey, listen, I'm not going to argue with you there. I love buying the dips. I really do like it when the weekly RSIs are oversold. But trust me, when we're seeing gains, like when we were coming out of that bear market, that was just so enjoyable. It's so much more fun. It really is. Aaron says, you're right. The hardest part is waiting for the final capitulation. Bill says, I think down. I don't know. It works, but I wonder if all these countries restricting their people's ability to withdraw money has something to do with it. Slowly but surely, those effects will impact the markets, the price of Bitcoin. Definitely. Wilm says, my neck hurts. Anthony, win LTC 1K. I'll do a Litecoin technical analysis in the next day or so. But, I really wanted to get a Bitcoin technical analysis because we're at a very, very critical area, I think. Humanus says, I honestly do not think we're revisiting the 6K area ever again. I'm torn. And I think at the end of the day, the best thing is no matter what any of us thinks, it really doesn't matter. It's more of, are we actually at least prepared? Are we prepared for Bitcoin to enter that 6K area? And I can say that I'm ready for that. I really am. I'm not sitting here hoping that Bitcoin just bounces off here and goes to the moon. I'm relaxed, patient, and it's taken a lot of, learning to kind of just force yourself to get to that area where you can just realize that Bitcoin actually it's volatile, but it doesn't move that fast. It doesn't move as fast as everybody wants. It doesn't move as fast as you and I want. And so if we can just chill out for a second and let it do its thing, let it hit areas that it needs to hit for the most bullish of setups, then I think we'll win. And in the end of the day, if you zoom out, and here's the long-term speculative Bitcoin chart that I did, and it's very messy right now. I have to clean this up. But if you just zoom out and we see what happens when we let Bitcoin kind of just relax, do its thing, consolidate, get its bullish setups, we just keep getting these long-term higher highs, higher lows. But look how long this took. Higher high, this is a bull market, November 2013, to the next higher high, bull market 2017, 4 years, right? So December 2017, 2021, another 4 years. Can you wait till 2021? It's not definite, but there's definitely speculative play that it will happen. Just be patient. That's all I'm saying. I'm encouraging you because I'm talking to myself, everybody. This is what I got to tell myself. You have to be patient. So anyway, 30-minute live stream. I gotta close out now. Time to go have some family time. I really appreciate all of you coming by. Super chatters, I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for your super chats. If you're here right now, you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. It would mean a lot. Hit that like button on the way out. It would mean a lot. I hope you have a great Saturday, a great weekend. I will see you in the next video, and God bless.